In early 1968, Orangeburg, South Carolina, was a staunchly conservative, rural-oriented town of 20,000 located 40 miles southeast of the state capital of Columbia. Orangeburg is the home of two historically black colleges, South Carolina State University and Claflin College. In 1968, there was only one bowling alley, and it was still a whites-only establishment. On February 5th, a group of about 40 students marched to the bowling alley to protest the continued segregation. On February 6th, the students returned and events escalated to a violent altercation between police and students. Policemen used their riot sticks as clubs to force the students to retreat from the parking lot. Multiple people at the scene witnessed a female student being clubbed by one officer while she was restrained by another. Tensions were high, and the governor responded by sending state law enforcement and National Guard troops to Orangeburg. On the night of February 8th, students lit a bonfire in the front of the entrance to State College, now University, and taunted law enforcement officers who were positioned all along the front of campus. Some students threw objects, including rocks and pieces of wood. Patrolman David Shealy was hit in the face by a banister railing and appeared to be severely injured. Suddenly, the cold night air crackled with the sound of gunfire. Frantic students dove to the ground, ran toward the interior of campus seeking safety, or sought protection behind the trash cans and other barriers. The shooting lasted about 8 to 10 seconds. The scene resembled a war zone, except only one side was firing. At least 30 young men and women suffered bullet wounds. Nearly all of the students were struck from the back or side. Some were wounded in the soles of their feet as they fell to the ground in search of cover. Henry Smith, a State College sophomore, Samuel Hammond, a State College freshman, and halfback on the football team. Delano Middleton, a high school student whose mother worked at State College, died from their wounds. In December 1968, 9 officers were charged in federal court with imposing summary punishment without due process of law. At the time of the offense was a misdemeanor and carried a maximum penalty of a year in prison and a $1,000 fine. Despite overwhelming evidence that the 9 officers fired upon unarmed students, a federal jury took less than 2 hours to acquit the officers. In fact, the only person who received legal punishment in relation to the events in Orangeburg was Cleveland Sellers, a 22-year-old State College student who had previously served as a national program director for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Sellers was among the wounded on campus the night of February 8th, but he was not a leader of the demonstrations. Sellers was charged with a whole host of crimes, including inciting a riot and assault and battery with the intent to kill. A state jury convicted Sellers on a riot charge and sentenced him to 1 year in prison. On July 20th, 1993, 25 years after what is now often referred to as the Orangeburg Massacre, Sellers received a pardon from the state of South Carolina.